be informing you on the millennial generation, which we call the Mimi generation, because everyone seems to call us selfless people. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, millennials are projected to be the largest living generation in 2015, where unlike any other generation, 2 in 3 of us are considered to be millennials. So just a little more about who we are. We were born between 1981 and 2000. Our current ages between 15 and 34. We're smart, ambitious, and busy. We make joint decisions with our parents, and we believe in big brands, and we're transforming the university world, unlike the baby boomers. Our grades have gone up 50% compared to when the baby boomers were in college. Millennials have always been treated as special. After all, they came from the largest generation of the baby boomers, basically mass-producing children, hence why they're called the baby boomers. Which brings me to my next slide of the characteristics of our generation. So our generation as a whole is special, sheltered, confident, team-oriented, achieving, pressured, and conventional. We were born during the Mac, PC, and Starbucks era, and instead of using lighters like as the baby boomers did for concerts, which have taken off more than any other generation before, we're using cell phones and kind of just taking over the technological era. So next is us as students, and I'm going to give you a quote by Hal and Neil Strauss, and it kind of depicts us how we are as students. So millennials will rebel against Gen X styles and attitudes, correct for boomer excess, and fill the role vacated by GIs, which basically means that although millennials are achieving more than the baby boomers did, we're not really listening to our parents. We're making decisions with them, but we're kind of doing our own style. We're called the hippie generation because we like to be unique and kind of do things our own way. So I added this next timeline in here that kind of depicts what my next slide is about, and it's how we were shaped by our times. And you can see that from 1985 to 2006, there's been an incredible amount of advancements. Even though the baby boomer generation started in 1981, the biggest advancement started in 1985, which was when Apple computers were invented and used in classrooms. And we end it with when Twitter was introduced in 2006, which is actually the #1 social media site in the nation right now. So we're constantly looking for ways to multitask. We don't like boring tasks, and we're busy with extracurricular activities, and we gravitate toward group work. And that has all been because of advancement in technology. So that brings me to how we were shaped by our times, and we've lived very structured lives. And it's because of the safety era, which is the millennial generation, because of terrorism, like baby on board signs, car seats were invented, seat belts became like the click it or ticket where we had to wear them. And because of the baby boomers wanted children so bad, they were so safety precautious that we've lived like a really sheltered life. Well, parents think we've lived a really sheltered life because they wanted us to kind of like tone it down. Like as our parents, you've probably heard them say before, like that they were able to walk to school and not feel worried or scared. And in our generation, you can't walk down the road at night. It's not really a safe place anymore. I added a couple cartoons on here. Like this one says, you get 5 minutes between soccer and piano. What are you going to do at that time? Which kind of leads to how we were shaped by our times and by so much structure. A lot of millennials were forced into like soccer, which brought us to soccer moms and minivans, which leads to safety. And then they have like other extracurricular activities to where they weren't able to just do what they wanted to freely. So now we're kind of rebelling against the Gen X style, which Generation X is the baby boomers. And another thing is that we use 24/7 digital media. Baby on board signs were popular in 1981 when millennials were first being born. Messages like, have you hugged your child today? Mommy and me classes. I added soccer moms and minivans in here, which goes back to our sheltered and safety kind of lifestyle, as well as every second is scheduled and structured. So my next slide is going to bring us to how our generation of millennials has completely changed the market as well as the workforce, and it's influencing the future more than baby boomers did in the 60s. So millennials influencing the present consumer market and ruling the workforce. The first market change that I have is convenience. Convenience is king. which means that us as millennials want things when we want it. If we're hungry, we want late night menus. If we wake up really early, we want breakfast items. If we want to buy food, we want to be able to go online and buy it. If we want to be able to buy clothes, we want to be able to go online and buy it. We want to go to the store, we want late hours. We're the kind of people that stay up late, and we just want things exactly when we want it. We don't want to have to wait. The next one is distribution models matter, which is a need it now mentality, which kind of goes back to convenience is king, needing it now, being able to go online, buy what you want, being able to just kind of use the internet to get the answers when you want. There's no waiting. The next one is that brand names are less important, and that means when it comes to food in the market, that we've completely changed the way wine is sold. It's never been genetically modified. And now it is, and we've completely changed the craft industry as well. So next would be how loyalty is a thing of the past. Millennials are making roughly $20,000 a year, and they're not really worried about price, which leads to my next one, which is price sensitivity. So if they're not really believing in loyalty, they're kind of going wherever they want. If they're worried about price, it doesn't matter when it comes to food. They'd rather get healthy, quality ingredients than buy something cheap and not be healthy, organic, or fresher options. And so the next one would be how our workforce changes. And the first one is slimming the wage gap. Compared to baby boomers, the gap has changed dramatically. And according to pay scale, 72% of millennials would rather have the same pay wage as males than they did in the baby boomers, which is obvious. I mean, of course, women want to be paid as much as males. And so the next one is how they're fast on their feet. Their adaptability is crucial for any leader, whether it's changing management style to meeting the needs of their employees. And then I also have that they're thinking outside of the box. They can quickly act on their feet. And so the next one is going to be how they think outside of the box. They're very entrepreneurial, and according to Elance OS, a study shows that the abundance of Generation Y entrepreneurs are driving the American economy, which basically changes how the market has been influenced so much, and also how the workforce has changed, because they're driving our economy by working as well as buying. And the next one is how millennials are not as selfish as they've made us out to be. They call us blunt and expressive, and while that may be true, 84% of millennials are giving back. If they're entrepreneurs, they're taking their business and giving back money. If they're not entrepreneurs, they're just working. We have more volunteers than ever before. And the last one is that we make such a mean network. 90% of millennials have had more than 3 jobs within a year, which means they're building a massive network. So they're working at one job, meeting a bunch of people, creating a network, moving on to the next, having those people behind them and gaining more. And when they finally get to their career, which is usually like a freelance career, they have such a long trail behind them that they have a huge network to put together. And so finally, I added this little picture which kind of shows how blunt and expressive we are. And I just wanted to tell you guys that millennials, our American dream is not about a picket fence. And I know this goes for myself as well. I'd rather follow something passionate and be in that unique category where I'm just like, well, not myself only, but where millennials as a whole are a tight-knit generation, like working toward each other, working toward getting things done, and not in a completely racially diverse, group of us millennials, and we're not focused on that. And the last thing is that the meme here, I know I already talked about it, but you can see like how he has like the Y on his butt, that it kind of shows that our selflessness is so apparent, but by the proof of our work ethic, you can tell that we have exceeded baby boomers, and by 2016 we'll be the largest living generation.